both.
Very well, thank you for having us on.
John, thank you.
As we begin this, to ratchet up this rhetoric as to what we're going to do in Syria, etc., maybe it's important that we step back a second, and you guys have discovered some information here that tells us that our government wasn't entirely honest and truthful with us about what happened in Benghazi. Is that true?
I think, Sean, when you look at the events unfolded at Benghazi from the special agents that were on the ground with the diplomatic security service, it was quite clear to the agents the moment the first round was fired that this was a terrorist attack. That information was conveyed back to the U.S. Embassy in Tripoli, as well as to the State Department Operations Center, as well as the Diplomatic Security Command Post in Washington.
Now, by the way, all of this happened in spite of a lot of our allies, including Great Britain, had abandoned Benghazi and the lawless city where a lot of terrorist groups are being trained. They all left. The UN left. Everybody left but us, right? Or a lot of people left.
Well, there was a series of signposts along the road that hinted that Benghazi was unsafe. In the book, we give a parallel example of what happened in Benghazi when we interview a special agent from the State Department who was in Beirut during the Civil War, and he recounts how when the embassy was under attack and there were all sorts of threats against it, he sent a cable back to Washington requesting that they pull out, and Washington sent back a cable then saying that we're in Lebanon for a higher purpose. A few days later, the U.S. ambassador and the charge d'affaires were kidnapped and assassinated, and apparently there was a higher purpose in Benghazi as far as the U.S. government was concerned, and that warranted a presence in the city.
All right, now, you guys got a hold of a cable that was sent out on September 11, 2012 at 10:05 p.m. Explain that cable.
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, there was a lot of material that was seized at the special mission compound in Benghazi, and it spoke of the threats that were encountered and the fear that some sort of attack was imminent.
Okay, so, and then when the attack was underway, you reported you got, in fact, everybody got word that the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi was under attack and what was happening, correct?
That's correct, Sean. The information flowed very rapidly via email and message text. In essence, the cables today in the diplomatic environment are something that's done as a secondary kind of paper trail. So it was quite clear to the agents, not only in Benghazi, Tripoli, but the State Department Operations Center, that the embassy was under terrorist attack.
And there had been previous attacks going back to June of 2011. There was an attack then, and there had been other attacks on the compound, correct?
The situation in Benghazi was that attacks were commonplace. Gunfire was heard all throughout the area. The militias in Toyota pickup trucks with 23mm cannons roamed freely throughout the city. The place was as lawless as the definition of the word lawless can be.
And the State Department, there were numerous requests from the compound for additional security that was denied, right?
That's correct, Sean. In essence, if you look at this, there's a term, and I'm a former agent. In fact, I investigated the last U.S. ambassador killed on the line of duty in 1988, Ambassador Arnie Rafel. There's a term we use of threat fatigue, meaning every day you see so many threats, whether it be intercept or CIA reporting, that you reach a point where it's just another threat. So from trying to gauge the pulse on any given day, it's like the frog in the boiling pot. The threat level was just rising until it reached the terrorist attack phase.
So the bottom line is all of the information provided showed that an attack was imminent, requests for security were made, and requests were denied. Now let's go to the day of the attack. At the very onset of this, I understand the ambassador, Chris Stevens, called into the deputy chief of mission, Greg Hicks, at the embassy in Tripoli. He had a hard time reaching him, and he spoke to him and didn't want to compromise his position, but and he called local militia and public security people. Why didn't he call the Libya Shield Force?
Well, you have to look at this in context of your fleeting loyalties in that kind of environment. Remember, under Vienna Convention, it's the host nation's responsibility to provide security for all resident foreign diplomatic officials at any diplomatic compound. The problem in Libya was there was no structured government to provide that kind of security to afford adequate protection for your perimeter. Therefore, if DS, diplomatic security, did not have enough agents on the perimeter, which clearly they didn't, there is nobody there you could call upon other than the former U.S. Navy SEALs, Ty Woods and Glenn Daugherty, who responded over as part of the CIA response team from their GRS staff.
Right. Sean, as in law enforcement, when a police officer requires assistance and calls for backup, the backup is usually a couple blocks away or even a mile away in the worst case scenario, and you can bring in backup from other counties and other jurisdictions. The life and reality as a State Department Diplomatic Security Service officer in many of these critical threat posts is that backup is 6,000 miles away in an aircraft carrier, and it's not immediate, and sometimes it could be a day or even more away.
Well, what about during? We were told that even though the CIA annex was about a mile away, and you had people like Tyrone Woods and others that apparently were told to stand down, they went to help anyway. When did the stand down orders during the attack come?
Well, the interesting part of that, Sean, is the CIA staff that responded over the actual QRF, the quick reaction force that came from the annex, they were delayed via various roadblocks as well as your average street demonstrations that were ongoing. The place was like chaos, as it was described to us that night. So the actual response was delayed in not only logistically getting there because of people milling about and street blockages and these random kind of roving roadblocks, not knowing who's friend or foe. There was also your usual bit of bureaucratic delay in moving anybody from point A to point B. And thank goodness that Ty and Glenn did respond, the former SEALs, because they were able to